Hi, I'm your sister in the truth. My name is Kim Lawrence, and I am actually a molecular biologist, which is a scientist who works with DNA, RNA, and proteins. I actually worked on the first human gene therapy project ever. That was so much fun. I think that this field has a lot to offer as well as a lot to learn because we're basically on the tip of the iceberg learning about what our DNA can do for us. And I actually went to medical school at Mayo Medical, and so I'm medically trained. Decided not to actually, well, I wanted to become a doctor and treat patients and all that, but I was actually, when I was at Mayo, found out that not only is it tough to work as a physician, but if you really want to help patients, a lot of times you're not allowed to do things that, would keep them healthy. So literally, a lot of the drugs that are out there might help a symptom, but then they cause other symptoms. And so people are keep returning to get more medications. And I did not like that theory. Um, One of the things that happened when I was there was somebody actually thought they found a cure for cancer, and it was thrilling to think that wow, there might be a cure for cancer. And they had done these experiments in mice that didn't have an immune system, so they could put transplant like human cancer cells into these mice, and then they would grow these human cancers. And then they would give the mice this drug that they created, and all of the mice were healed and lived a normal lifespan and didn't have any traces of those cancers. So the idea was, let's get this up into higher animals. And when they applied for grants to do that work, they couldn't get the grants, and they were basically told, if you continue this research, we're taking your license to practice medicine away from you. So he basically told us he had well, he probably had more than two choices, but the two choices he told us he had was that he could go to a foreign country and continue his research, or if if he wanted to stay a physician, which he didn't really want to give that up, he couldn't continue his research here. So unfortunately, he went with the latter and didn't continue his research. And I'm not even sure if he gave this to anybody in a foreign country, but haven't heard anything since. So I think it's terrible that the drug companies will rally against anything that actually tries to cure a person. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to try to cure you with this product that I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to tell you that it's truly, truly amazing. So, let me share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Share. I don't know if this was supposed to be presentation type of thing or not, but it's going to be a presentation for me. So, being a sister in the truth, this is one of my favorite verses coming from Psalm 139, that it tells us that Jehovah created us in a wonderful way. So our bodies are amazing. And did you know that your own body has the blueprint to keep you healthy? It absolutely does, and that's found in our DNA. Okay, so what's different about our products is that we are not just adding a supplement. So literally, there are many supplements out there. It's a multi-million, I think it's multi-billion now, dollar a year uh, business, supplementing because people want to get healthy. Unfortunately, our medical system, or should I say our sick system, doesn't allow that to happen. So, it's not health care, it's sick care. All right. So unfortunately, they want to keep us sick so they can keep making money. So supplements are something that we take from the outside to fill a void or a need that we have on the inside. And that makes sense. So, like if you don't have enough vitamin D, you're not body's not making enough, all this kind of stuff, then we need to take a supplement to hopefully fill that gap that we have. And but did you know that you can actually over supplement and that can be dangerous as well? So some supplements that we take probably aren't even being absorbed, so we're just paying for expensive urine. Or if it's not getting absorbed at all, it might come out the other end as a waste product. So we're not getting the benefits we're hoping from the supplements we're taking. But activation is different because we are still taking something from the outside, but once it's in our bodies, it's going to work on whatever is already there. So it works at the DNA level to get things like survival genes turned on. And it just helps us stay healthier because it also suppresses or keeps those genes that we want turned off, like oncogenes, which can cause cancer, etc. And there are lots of enzymes that will break things down that keep you healthy. So it'll turn those down or turn them off. So this is amazing. All right. So our company, LifeVantage, has products that activate all different parts of the body, but our flagship product is so amazing. It can be totally transforming and life-changing. And again, we can't say that our products intend to cure, treat, mitigate, whatever, any disease, but you'll see why it's so life-changing. Okay, so many people have heard of oxidative stress before, but maybe you don't know what a free radical is. A free radical is what I like to call an unhappy molecule. And an unhappy molecule, it's missing an electron. So what it's going to do, it's going to grab an electron from wherever it can grab it from. It can grab it from the cell membrane. There'll be a little bit of damage in the cell membrane. It can grab it from DNA, and guess what? You're going to have a little bit of damage in the DNA. It can grab it from a protein. There'll be a little bit of damage in that protein. Wherever it grabs that electron from, there's going to be a little bit of damage. Now, if you only have a couple of free radicals in a cell, it's not going to cause too much damage at all. But literally, there are hundreds, thousands of these in cells. So we can't escape free radicals. It's a part of everyday living. We breathe in, and if we're breathing in toxins, we're going to have more free radicals. But we eat, and part of breaking down our food will create free radicals. So we just can't avoid them. It's just part of everyday living. But is there anything that we can do that can prevent the damage that these free radicals can do? So if you have a lot of cells in a given tissue or organ, it's going to lead to something that's called disease. Let's take a quicker look at that, or a different look. So if we leave an apple simply on the counter, after a while, just being exposed to the air and oxygen, it oxidizes and it becomes something that we don't want to eat. And of course, if we cut open that apple, it gets exposed to the air even more quickly and it becomes something we don't want to eat. It turns brown, it turns icky. So that's oxidative stress. So in our bodies, our cells can get that as well. So here's a normal healthy cell. You can see that there's free radicals and a little bit of damage here, there, everywhere it's being attacked. Okay, and then after a while, this cell is not going to function normally at all. So when you have lots of these cells in a given tissue or a given organ, again, that leads to what's called dis-ease in the body. And I want you to think about what that means. It means your body is not at ease. And so is there anything that we can do to bring the body back into balance so it can be at ease again? Well, we found out that yes, there is. So this product, Protandim NRF2, is an amazing, life-changing product. Look at the ingredients: turmeric, milk thistle, green tea, bacopa, ashwagandha. Those are the only five ingredients. They're all natural ingredients. Your body treats them like food. So if you're a person that can eat food, guess what? You can take Protandim. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. And look at how it lowers oxidative stress, not by a little, by an average of 40% in just 1 month or 30 days. That's phenomenal. So, these three enzymes here, I'd like you to think of them as Pac-Men that are going to gobble up those free radicals that do damage. So, superoxide dismutase is increased by 30% on average, catalase by 54%. Those are not small amounts, but glutathione, which is known as the body's master antioxidant, is quadrupled. That's amazing. So guess what? We actually have multiple patents on this product. It's all natural, and that's almost unheard of to have a patent on an all natural product. But why do we have a patent? So take a look. All five of those ingredients listed here show that there's some antioxidant activity. But now when you take the little amounts of each of these ingredients that is included in Protandim, it works so much more effectively. It actually works 18 times more effectively than the sum of its parts. So because of that, there's synergy and the activity is much greater than the sum of the parts. That's one of the reasons we have a patent. So pretty amazing. And so if anybody asks me, I'm always going to tell them to eat as healthy as possible. But here's the difference between eating healthy, so still do it, please, and activating NRF2. So if you eat healthy, one antioxidant molecule can only get rid of one free radical, one and done. Okay, but when you activate NRF2 with that little yellow pill, remember I told you there are these Pac-Men. Well, they keep going all around the clock. They're gobbling up those free radicals. And it's not 1 to 1. And this says 1,000,000 to 1, but guess what? It's way more than that. It's 1,000,000 to 1 per second. So literally 1,000,000. Let's take a look at that another way. So if you wanted to neutralize 1 million free radicals, you would have to eat 400 oranges, 500 cups of broccoli, 110 cups of blueberries, 120 vitamin C tablets. And you know what? I don't know about you, but I can't eat that much, and I definitely don't want to pay for that much. Here's the difference, though, taking one Protandim. So you can see by the red line here that oxidative stress goes up as we age. And the reason is, though, remember I told you about those Pac-Men? They decline, our body starts declining the production of those enzymes. So that means more free radicals can be around, and that's part of the reason why we age. That's part of the reason why we get sick. It's because of we're not making as much of those Pac-Men that are going to gobble up the free radicals. However, it doesn't matter what age you start taking Protandim at. So you could start taking it at 20, 30, 40, 60, even 80 or older. But you're going to be making the same amount of those Pac-Men that you did before you were 20. So the amount of oxidative stress is going to be the same as when you were 20. So if hopefully you felt pretty good and healthy when you were young, don't you want to feel that good and healthy again? That's what'll happen if you start taking Protandim. So if you haven't seen the ABC News primetime video, it's amazing. But when that came out, well, it wasn't a video, it was actually a news show. But a lot of places that did research didn't believe it. So they said, we need to get our hands on that product and do our own research. And look at the prestigious places that did research: Harvard University, American Heart Association, etc. So we did not pay for this research, and we have over 30 peer-reviewed journal publications on the product. If you go to PubMed.gov, you'll find 28 of those publications are listed there. But it's pretty amazing because some of the places did research on cells in petri dishes. Some of the places did research on animals. Some of the places did research on people, but it didn't matter what their research was on. Whatever they gave Protandim to wound up being healthier. So there were healthier cells, healthier animals, healthier people. So it agreed with all the research that was done, agreed with our findings that it lowered oxidative stress and in a short amount of time. As a matter of fact, the National Institutes on Aging did an experiment with male mice and found out that not only did they have 7% extended lifespan, but they stayed healthy during that time. So they had 7% extended health span. So imagine if you could live 7% longer and stay healthy during that time and have vigorous life, just be full of energy, etc. That's what we want. I know I don't want to live a long, long life if I'm going to be suffering and in lots of pain. So, I want to have a healthy life and I want to live as long as possible in a healthy state. So, NRF2 activation has been called potentially the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. That was by Washington State University. So, this is truly amazing. All right. What I said at the beginning, we can't say that this cures, mitigates, whatever, prevents any disease. However, it's totally transforming and life-changing. So when I originally heard about this product, I'm gonna stop my share here. And I didn't think I was ever going to buy it. I mean, it sounded fabulous, but since I'm in science and I know how they write scientific articles, I said, it sounds really good, but I'm already healthy and I don't feel like I need to add anything to my repertoire. And I mean, I was being honest. I was doing a lot of different healthy things and I don't know. So, but what changed my mind was my first product actually was shampoo. So the gal that tried to introduce the company to me actually invited me to review a scientific article. And I reviewed it and I said, it sounds fabulous, but I don't think I need it because I'm already healthy and so she kept trickling a little information here, a little information there. Sometimes it was another scientific article, sometimes it was a video, and everything that she sent me was great. But like I said, I was doing all these healthy things, so I didn't think I needed to add something new. But one day she calls me up and she goes, Kim, everything on the website is 20% off. They hardly ever do this except for the flagship product. The Pretendum's not on sale. And I'm like, well, I didn't want the Pretendum anyway. But my question to her was, do you have a shampoo? And she said, yes. And so I'd never been to the website before, whatever. I went to the website, checked out the ingredients on the shampoo. So I was doing all these healthy things. And believe it or not, like the things that we use for our body care, like our hair care, skin care, whatever, they affect us tremendously. So I was always trying to do things as healthy as possible. So I didn't want toxic ingredients in the things that I was using. And I had healthy shampoos, but I wasn't in love with them. I mean, didn't necessarily like the fragrance or the the way that it lathered, it didn't lather or it didn't whatever. I just, I mean, I was using them because I was staying healthier, but I mean, and they cost a pretty penny as well. So if you're going to pay a lot, you might as well get something you really like. So, I went to the website, looked at the shampoo, and saw that there were no red flag ingredients. And I thought, I think I'll go ahead and try it. And I always like a deal. So 20% off, awesome. That's how I was introduced to the products. And when I got it, I'm not one of those typical people that say, I have to use up my old shampoo first. No, I just wanted to use it right away. And I kid you not, when I used it, I'm like, shampoo ever. I just loved everything about it. I loved the way that it smelled. I loved the way that it lathered. I loved the way that it made my hair feel clean. And then after it dried, it was soft and manageable. And I just was like, okay. So I wound up ordering the rest of the hair care. And shortly after that, I mean, I have all kinds of stories that I can tell you, but shortly after that, I did some more research and found out, okay, well, I'm I heard somebody give a testimony about the Protandim, and she actually had cancer, and the doctor told her that he had tried everything and that he knew, and her cancer was progressing very quickly, and he believed that she only had 3 weeks to live. So he said, if you don't have a will, please go out and make that will. And, so she took it seriously and she, followed the instructions. But during that time, a friend had told her about the Protandim. And she says, I have nothing to lose. I mean, the product didn't cost that much. And so she's like, well, okay, I'll give it a try. She's in total remission, right? When I had heard her testimony. So I'm like, I got to get my dad on these products. And he had prostate cancer. And he literally changed within about 5 days from being totally depressed, not wanting to live, um, to being his old vibrant self again. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say it took all of his depression away, but he was able to start enjoying the things that he enjoyed, like music and baseball. And, so before he was just stuck in bed and didn't want to do anything. So, anyways, when I saw that it changed his life for the better that quickly, I said, well, maybe I do need to get on it. And literally, I will never go off the product. It is so amazing. So, like I said, I felt like I was healthy at the time. And for most people, I think I would be considered quite healthy. Like I wouldn't say I was like at the 100 percentile, but I was somewhere between like 85 and 90 for health compared to other people. And I thought that that was pretty good. But now I think I'm in the 99th percentile, even though I'm going through certain things. I think we all go through different things, but I actually was bitten by ticks this year and have a couple of different tick-borne diseases. But I think if I was not activated, I wouldn't be walking. I would have no life whatsoever. So these products have kept me going. And guess what? I went to a Bible study today. So I have literally been able to keep up with being a pioneer, and I just enjoy the product so much. And I think that anybody over the age of 25 should be taking Protandim, and anybody who is younger than that having some kind of a health issue or cognitive issue, or if they're on the spectrum, they should be taking it too, because I have seen literally how it has improved the lives of people on the autism spectrum. Um, so the way I like to put it is our body is made up of cells, And cells are amazing. Jehovah created us in an amazing way. If we can keep our cells healthy, healthy cells, healthy body. So literally, that's what this Protandim does. It keeps our cells healthy. So it doesn't get all that damage from the oxidative stress that would be caused by those free radicals. Again, we can't avoid free radicals. They're going to be formed within our bodies. It's just a natural part of living. And but if we can prevent the damage that they cause, so before they can snap up an electron, they're gobbled up by by our own um, uh, antioxidants. Our the way our antioxidants work are so much better than whatever we can ingest to get antioxidants. And I don't know. So I hope that that helps. And if you're sitting on the fence, stop sitting on the fence because it's your life. If you want your life back, you need to act. And that this is how you can act. You can start doing something for yourself. And Jehovah wants us to take care of our bodies, wants us. So do it. Do it for you. Do it for Jehovah. Bye.